Welcome to the Good Good podcast. I'm your host, Dee Talley, mama, licensed acupuncturist, herbalist, and embodiment coach. Here we dive deep into the realms of energy, consciousness, awareness, empowerment, and personal transformation to help you create a more vibrant and juicy life. Hello, my friends, and welcome to the Good Good with Dee Talley. It's me, Dee Talley. I'm going to be so fucking for real with you right now. Oh my God. It is Christmas Eve. I have a glass of wine in my hand. I was not going to record a show this week. As maybe you can tell, I have been sick. I lost my voice, like fully lost my voice. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to take, Christmas week off and resume for next week because I have a really special show planned for next week for New Year's. I was just like, there have to be people out there feeling a similar way that I'm feeling right now. So please don't mind my extra low voice. I feel like Phoebe Buffet when she's like, oh, my babies. When she has her sexy voice. I'm not sure how sexy I think it is, to be honest with you. So it is Christmas Eve. Santa has not come to my house yet. Although my kids are asleep, Santa's not here yet, so we're going to wait. We're going to wait for him. So when I said I'm going to be so fucking for real with you, here's the deal. I have gotten rocked this holiday season. Rocked. For so many reasons. Like way too many scheduling things, kid things. So like making sure the kids have like the things that they need for school. And it's all different with different times of day that they need certain things. Bring this food to this party. Your kid needs to be in pajamas on this day. But then it's like, it's times two. So there's like a lot of things to remember in scheduling, as well as the fact that whenever I take off work for a length of time, there's always this crazy rush before and the crazy rush after, and I allow it. And so I've taken off this past Friday, and it'll be almost a full 2 weeks off, which I hardly ever do. And that is it's overwhelming. It's like I could feel my nervous system winding up as I was kind of leading towards the vacation. I lost my voice on my last day of work. And then it got worse and worse to the point where I could not even talk at all. So it's funny because it's like, I'm like a practice what I preach type of person, right? And I like do a wellness podcast, and I'm, a wellness practitioner. And, I think you're going to witness a lot of my programs right now. I think that I'm quite healthy of a person. And sometimes all that shit goes right out the fucking window. Straight up. Like all of it. Because why? Because I'm a human. And because, there's different versions. There's different versions of me. And I just wanted to come on here and just be so fucking for real with you that it's not all rainbows and butterflies. And to have light, you also have to have dark. And this Christmas season has felt pretty horrendous in a lot of different ways. Being overbooked, too busy, feeling like you can't really get your self-care in. Working out, I've really slacked off on my workouts just merely for the fact that I'm choosing other things to fill my time with. The level of like anxiety and angst that is like maybe not necessarily imposed, like self-imposed, but societally imposed, that I can feel how amped up that level of energy is. And it really, really impacted me this year. And, I did a show on lack and abundance, and I truly, truly believe in that show and everything that I said to you. And I also felt very, very high anxiety when I found myself overspending this year. And it can be both. And that's really where I'm at, is like, it can be both. I can feel both wildly abundant in that I have enough and that I'll always have enough. And I can feel high anxiety around the fact that there's a lot of money that went out this month. And I think we have to hold both and not try to fight it or make it one or the other. And so my kids too, which as you can imagine, they're all sick, very sick. Like my youngest, we had to take to the pediatricians for a sick visit today on Christmas Eve. And being up at all hours in the night, trying to console these kids, meanwhile, extremely busy at the office, meanwhile, extra spending, all this wrapping, it just gets to be, it's too much. It's too much. And I'm not saying that I broke, spiritually, I didn't break this season. But I'll tell you that I'm afraid, and I'll tell you that it's okay. So when I was preparing this, it's really funny because I thought, maybe I'll take them through like a guided meditation for holiday stress, or maybe we can talk about tips for how to stay grounded this holiday season. And it's just like, okay, the first one was set boundaries. The next was keep your expectations realistic. The third one is take care of yourself first. The fourth one is manage your finances mindfully. Don't overindulge. Let go of your family drama. And I'm like cringing. I can't even like pretend that I can say those things and be like, yes, here are the things that you need to do. Meanwhile, me behind the scenes, frayed, crumbling, sick, over it, done, absolutely done. So I was like, I can't in my right mind actually say, like, I can't be the person to try to do like tips and tricks. Like, this is real life. This is real life. And I don't have tips and tricks. I don't have any tips and tricks right now. But the one thing, maybe there's more than one, but the one thing that I'm going to say is, and this is like my lifeline to myself, when you feel like your shit is crumbling, literally all of it, and you're holding on for dear life, and your nervous system is rocked, and you feel like there's an anchor on your ankle pulling you down, let it. Let it. Don't fight it. Because I can't tell you how many times I was trying to fight myself. I'm not saying like drown yourself. Let that anchor pull you to the bottom of the ocean. No. Let it be what it is. I can't tell you how many times I tried to convince myself that I was actually in the holiday spirit. Turn on the Christmas music, get the fireplace going. Oh, isn't this so nice? And I still found that there was a feeling inside of me that was like fucking pissed, annoyed, frustrated. No, I don't want to be doing this. I'm not having fun this holiday season. And pretending like I was having fun this holiday season cost me. So the lifeline is let it. Let it suck. Let it be hard. Let it be chaotic. Because fighting against what actually is true costs you your precious life force energy. Take it from me, who has been fucking rocked this season. And it's not like, okay, it's not like anybody knows, right? There's no like sign on my forehead that says I can't handle it this season, or I'm rocked, or whatever. The only person that really knows how rocked I am is my husband, because he's with me all the time and he knows what my baseline is. He knows kind of like where I'm at usually. And It hasn't been me, is what he says, right? And he's making jokes about like bah humbug and, you know, oh, you'll get there, you'll get there. And the answer is no. It's Christmas Eve. I'm not there. I haven't got there. I didn't actually have any fun. I take that back. I did have fun. Yesterday, my sister and I went to get all the pieces for me to make my holiday centerpiece, which I know people are like, well, that's a little bit too much, Dee. Like, you can drop the centerpiece, like, which is true. But I actually authentically love building centerpieces. So we went to Hobby Lobby and got like a couple of things, and it was just fun. It was fun to creatively be building this centerpiece for the holiday table, because we host everything, right? So we were hosting Christmas brunch. Can't wait. And we were in the aisle and I'm like picking out all this stuff. And my sister's like, you're going to buy that? Like, because my sister and I are very, very different. She is very like type A. She likes things like symmetrical, matching, like proper. So like a Christmas centerpiece to her would be like red and green candles and like holly berries, and like they're all like put in like a very symmetrical looking thing. And I picked out disco balls. My candles were pink and purple and red and green too, but mismatched and different heights and like all kinds of craziness. And she was like, you're gonna buy that? Oh, okay, like I don't see the vision, but I'm gonna just go with it type shit. So then we went to Mossbrook Roots and got our actual like bouquet, because and the other funny part is I'm standing there in front of the like foam, right? Because like if you build a centerpiece, you have to have a foam. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, oh my God, there's dry foam and there's wet foam. But the place that I usually buy foam only has one type of foam, and it doesn't delineate whether it's wet or dry. And I realized why all my flowers die in my centerpieces so fast. It's because I literally have been watering dry foam. I felt like a total idiot in that aisle, but I was also like, oh my God, like, so there is a solution to this problem. Dumb, right? I bought the wet foam and I did my centerpiece in wet foam, which by the way, I liked so much better. It was so much easier to push the flowers into wet foam that actually absorbs the water. But anyway, so we got everything and we got back home and we started building the centerpiece, and it was like super fun to creatively have this vision in my head and be building it out. I was listening to this podcast where this woman was talking about how when you're in creativity, your brain can't simultaneously be in anxiety and creativity at the same time, merely for the fact that your brain center is that's just not how your brain works. And so I felt it. I felt like, wow, doing this creative thing really helps me reduce anxiety. Now, did I leave that feeling like I have no more anxiety and I love the Christmas season? No, I didn't. But I did feel a reprieve. And once the centerpiece was all done, my sister stood back and she was like, wow, that looks so good. Which is so funny because I've learned throughout the years that our eyes actually prefer asymmetrical versus symmetrical, which I think is really, really interesting. So like the centerpiece looked nuts. It was crazy. It's like, I'll take a picture of it and post it on my socials, but it's like all over the place. There's disco balls, there's pink, there's different heights of things. It's like there's greens spilling out all over the place. It's messy, it's chaotic, but it feels good. It looks good. And it's just not something that I think, a perfectly symmetrical centerpiece would really hit the mark there. But it was funny because I said to her, well, now isn't it so fun? Like you learned how to make like a centerpiece. So cool, right? And she goes, yeah, I always knew how to make a centerpiece. I just choose not to. All right, bitch, come to my house. I'll make the centerpiece. Fucking love it. So that has seriously been the one time this season that I was like, wow, this is really, really fun. Right. And I know Christmas is tomorrow and it's going to be like pandemonium and a lot of fun to maybe watch what unfolds with my kids opening their presents and having family around. But it might not be. And let it be. Let it be. If I'm trying to fight myself to be in the holiday spirit and I'm really not in the holiday spirit, it just feels like there's a huge, huge cost to that. And I always talk about like emotion on top of emotion, of not feeling bad about what's happening. Because like adding those emotions on top just makes it all like mucked up. I always say that term. I would say this will muck you up. And I did have those moments where I was like, wow, I'm feeling really bad that I can't like get into this holiday spirit. Wow, what's wrong with me? Oh, you're so blessed. Like, look at all that you have and you can, you're so privileged and all this stuff. And it's like, yes. And let it. I know that the holiday season, it can be really amazing and magical and wonderful, but it often also isn't, for families who, for many reasons, for loss of loved ones, missing your family who is no longer here, for those family relationships that we have a really hard time with, where there's drama or angst or high emotion around the holidays, or maybe we feel like our loved ones don't really, get who we are or get us, or we have grief that we wish they were somebody different. Or, maybe there's financial burden or stress or strain of feeling like this isn't enough, that what I did wasn't enough. All the pressures and stress that moms put on themselves, moms and dads put on themselves to make their holiday just the best ever and have it be magical for the kids to remember, because we're talking core memories. And when you stop and you zoom out and you look at this as a whole, the season, the stress, the strain, the overindulgences, all of it, it's too much. It's too much. Like, it can't, we're talking balance. Like, anytime, like, I literally have a yin and yang symbol tattooed on me, balance. That's why it's there. When I look at that, I think about balance. This season, Christmas, there's no balance. There's no balance. And I felt bad for myself that I couldn't create balance. But the system isn't in place to have balance. The system is not in place to have balance. And when I realized that, and when I stopped beating myself up over having it be just so, or feeling like, man, you didn't get there, like it wasn't magical for you, that sucks for you, man. It's not set up for that. Let it suck. Let it suck. Cry, scream. Like, we're human, right? And for me to sit here and tell you tips and tricks to, make your holiday season less shitty, like that's all I got. Those two things, what I said to you, that's all I got. Part of the reason for starting this podcast is to build a sense of community and for people to be able to see themselves in me and me see you. Oh my Christ. It just makes it the crazy in me honors the crazy in you. No, the whole reason for me starting this podcast is for connection and I wanted it to feel like a group of people who are friends and who can be really, really real and honest and down to earth, and not have it be this like fake part of the internet where you open it up and it's like social media where you're like looking at all these aesthetic everythings, right? Aesthetic houses and, aesthetic camera angles, and it feels really fake for a lot of different reasons. And that was one thing when I started this podcast. I'm like, I want this to feel real. I want you to look at me and see that I am an authentic person. I want to be an authentic person. I want for multiple different reasons. So that way it gives for my own system, right? So for me to be myself, there is less cost on my system. And also, when we are our authentic selves, we give permission to others around us to be themselves. Because I really do think that if every single person felt safe being themselves and were themselves, it would be a very, very different world. I really, truly believe that. And so this is the reason why I turned on this microphone today. And I often pride myself on being a positive Polly, right? And like, I can find silver linings in like all different areas all the time. That's just kind of how my mind works. But it's not always true all the time. It's not always true all the time. And it can change. It can change and shift and ebb and flow. And that doesn't mean that you're not a positive person, And I realized too in this season that I was forcing it. I was forcing myself to try to be positive, Polly, when that really truly felt not good in my system. It didn't feel good to pretend like I was positive, Polly. It felt like bullshit and it felt inauthentic. And so there's room for all parts of you. That is another thing I realized. There's room for all parts of you, and even our shadow selves have information for us. If we humble ourselves and come at this from a place of non-ego, just information, just to see our shadow selves actually, many people are afraid of their shadow selves. They're afraid of these different parts of them that are kind of icky and like yucky and scary, or they have big, big feelings and that feels chaotic, or pick something, right? And so what I realized in this season is that actually our shadow selves hold key information for healing for us. So if we shine a light on our shadows, most of the times it's just parts of us that need something from us, need our attention. Those parts get a lot louder when we ignore them, right? And so there's room for you. There's room for you, for all of you here. And in this world, there's room for you. Every piece of you. The good, the bad, and the fucking ugly. There's room for you. And I hope that there are some people listening to this that like have had just the most glorious Christmas season. And truly, what I say to you is that is so amazing. Like I am like genuinely so happy that you have had a wonderful, wonderful Christmas season. And I'm sure there's some people listening to this that are like, oof, yeah, this season has sucked. There's room for every single piece. Because even though it's a big holiday season, if you zoom out, it's a season of life, right? And everybody has seasons of life that are harder than others. So if you find yourself in a shithole season of life, stop fighting. Just let it. Your life isn't going to implode. You're not going to crumble. If you fight yourself tooth and nail, you are hemorrhaging energy. I hemorrhaged energy. Still am. Putting band-aids on fucking bullet wounds at this point. It's the real. Like having young kids in this season It has to be both. It has to be like, oh my God, watching them, like they're so lit up. They open their present, they're screaming at the top. They say, Mom, look at it. It's magical. And it sucks. And. It can be both. You don't have to choose. It can be both. Stop fighting. Okay, my friends. I think I can hear Santa Claus coming down my chimney. Yep. Reindeers on the roof. Yeah. So I best be going. And I'm grateful to be my authentic self. I'm grateful to talk into this microphone. I'm grateful that you're here. I'm grateful that you get to show all parts of you here and hopefully in life, that you feel safe in doing so. And I truly hope that you have a wonderful Christmas and a wonderful New Year. That's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you in the next episode. Cheers.